I technically can delete that toast. And let me try re-registering. Okay, so it registered, and if we look at this, this is a full JSON API serialized result. I still need to get links in there, but the data format is correct, so I'm going to go ahead and commit this. Peep chat Adonis start. And let me go ahead and hub create and git push. Origin master. I always forget that. Okay, so the next thing is logging in, and this is going to be a little bit trickier because we're actually going to be using JWTs, which I'm not too familiar with in Adonis, and I only have done it a few times in other frameworks as well. So let's do route post / login, I believe is what it's called. Let's do error-driven development, if anything else. Hit login. Okay, it's called token. And I think, yep, API / token. Good. All right, so the first thing is, let me see what the data is formatted in. Headers. I have grant type password, username, and password. So I'm going to do const grant _ type, username, and password. Join all this together, equals request dot all. So one of the things you'll probably notice is this does not look like most node frameworks that you've done, and I'm actually stealing that directly from my time using Phoenix. I like destructuring, especially when you have to grab things out of something like JSON API format. Yes, hash API is an async method, so it will require yield. Ah, good catch on that. Yep, I will have to re-log in. So in the comments, Andy, thanks for that. You may already notice it has that, so let me go ahead and go to my data grip. Andy, I don't like doing it on a model hook, which will hash before create all the time, just because it sort of limits me onto what I can do for my for what I can do in terms of different different stages. So if I move, what Andy's actually asking about right now in Twitch chat is moving yield hashmake password over to a before create hook on the model. A few things that I'm not a huge fan of that is it's kind of it's adding some extra complexity. So you have to understand that these model hooks are being called, which for a seasoned Adonis user is fine, but I'm working a lot with junior developers and making sure that the code is as easy to read as possible. And the fact that create is also going to go ahead and hash this password, while I do understand that avoids the ability to make the mistake of forgetting to hash your password, I've actually run into frameworks that do this under the hood for you automatically. You forget, you put yield hashmake in one of your controllers, or let's say that your for instance, Laravel has a Laravel forgotten password, And inside of their resetting passwords, it automatically hashes it for me. And about half the time, I will double hash a password and end up not being able to log in or recover from it. So I like it that yield hash is explicit only where I'm hashing. Plus, I don't know if the before create also makes me think that I want to do that before update as well. And I would want to mimic update as well. And if the password isn't reset, then I'm double hashing and run into the same error. Okay. So that being said, let's go ahead and peep chat-a. This is going to ask me for my password. Pull it off screen. And let's refresh so I can see my peep chat. There it is. And yep, so this is what I was worried about. Since I didn't yield, it just gave me a JSON API or a JSON object. So I have to do ace migration refresh. And I'm going to have to re-register. You know, if this was all under tests, I would be able to see that very quickly, but I forgot. Okay, so request all. The next step that we're doing is we're going to need to, let's see, controllers, session controller. Okay, so once I have the username and password, probably want to do something, which is if grant type does not equal password response dot send a response status is 400, and I need to send some JSON which says error unsupported grant type. Actually, status 400 errors. And let's see, how are we responding to this in our errors map by detail? Okay. And I forgot there. Okay. Yeah, I know that it's not in camel case, but that's because, fine. You know what? I'll destructure it then. Okay. And let's go ahead and return it so that we don't go past there. Now, what's going wrong? Return value at the end of this function. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to need to do some hash checking. So let's do this. Const. I'm going to try set up a try catch for all of this. So const user equals user dot find. Can I just do this? Models lucid. Can I just say where email is email? Say const create read fetch fail. Okay, let's let's do this. Username and rename it to email. All right. Okay. So where email with or where. Okay, so first or fail. And then let's go ahead and user query email is email. But this is the same as doing where email. So I think that this should be easier. Oh, I guess I do have to do query. Is there a, Andy, do you know if there's a first or fail on that? Because that would be very helpful. Okay, so I do need to call query before where clause. I will probably PR to that so you don't need to have query as well. Pair. Wasn't there something where you can like look up? Okay, so never use first or fail. Convention for configuration. Connections, timestamps. Find by. Does find by... Okay, so find by... Okay, so yield hash check, and let's see which order hashing needs to be in. Hash check, hash verify. So I should check password to user.password. Okay. If that is all done, okay, so check password. If it's okay, encode and sign and send JSON access token. Okay, so response.json access token. Okay. Now just do auth. Guides, models, providers, authentication, and JWT. JWT generate, request, auth generate for user. All right, so const JWT equals for user. All right, and did you? Okay, so no put, or no finally, I mean. So let's go ahead and say